Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into something that affects literally every single one of us. We're uncovering the psychological mechanics behind those repetitive and, let's be honest, sometimes destructive relationship patterns we all get stuck in. We are focusing squarely on why we project onto others. To do this, we're going to be drawing on some absolutely fascinating insights from trauma therapist Gopal Norbert Klein regarding a process he calls floating. Our goal here? To make these complex psychological ideas crystal clear so you can actually use them in your everyday life. So let me start by asking you something, and it's a bit of a jarring question. Are you living in reality or a childhood dream world? Now, I want to pose this directly to you because I really want to challenge your perception of how you interact with your current partner, your friends, or even your colleagues. It feels like we're reacting to the world exactly as it is right in front of us. But while the source material suggests something completely different is actually happening behind the scenes in our minds. Let's establish exactly what we're talking about here. When we say a dream world, we're talking about unprocessed, unerased childhood experiences. And these aren't just, passive memories sitting in a dusty filing cabinet in the back of your brain. Not at all. They continue to live actively in our minds as present thoughts, and we project them directly onto our present reality. The fundamental takeaway here is a big one. We are very, very often interacting with our own past rather than the actual person standing right in front of us. Section 1. Trapped in a dream world. Diagnosing the root cause. Think about this quote for a second. Our childhood continues to live in our mind as thoughts. Basically, our minds are playing our childhood on a continuous loop. It's like a movie that just won't stop playing. Because those early experiences were never fully processed or integrated back then, they can't simply be erased. We carry our complete childhood in our heads, and honestly, this is where a lot of people spend their entire lives. We absolutely think we're in the present moment, but we're actually just living inside the dream world of our own thoughts. Section 2. The anatomy of projection. Okay, let's really dive into how this works. Our internalized dream world breaks down into 3 very distinct parts. Step 1 is the perceived danger. Step 2 is the internal cause, and Step 3 is the imagined personality. By breaking it down into these 3 clear steps, we can keep ourselves totally grounded in the actual psychology of projection. It's wild, but our brain builds a completely alternate reality using just these 3 ingredients. Section 3. The 4 dangers. Imagined outside threats. So, from the perspective of a little child, danger basically falls into 4 specific categories: attack, abandonment, freezing or ignoring, and manipulation. Now, the source material notes that manipulation is kind of somewhat in between the others, but fundamentally, these are the big threats. So the first aspect of projection is believing that a danger actually exists on the outside right now. For example, say your partner is just being a bit quiet. Well, your childhood programming might immediately project the fear of abandonment. Your mind instantly says, oh no, they're going to leave me. Section 4. Suppressing our core emotions. The internal cause. Now we hit step 2, and there is a stark duality happening inside of us here. On one side, we have our suppressed emotion. These are really deep feelings like grief, sadness, hate, anger, or honestly, maybe even joy. On the other side, we have the perceived threat, or that imagined danger on the outside that we just talked about. See, in childhood, we had to suppress these core emotions because we believed, falsely or not, that expressing them would trigger the outside world to attack, abandon, ignore, or manipulate us. So we avoid communicating them at all costs. We end up projecting onto ourselves that our hidden sadness or anger is the absolute root cause for any dangerous reaction from other people. And that brings us to the third and final part of the projection structure: the imagined personality and circumstances. Get this, our minds do not stop at just projecting danger and internal flaws. No way. To justify these intense fears, we literally invent an entire, coherent personality and life circumstance for the other person. If we're projecting that someone is going to attack us, our dream world might also project that they have a highly aggressive internal structure or chaotic life circumstances, just to make all the puzzle pieces fit together nicely. As the source explains, altogether seems to be coherent, and that's why it appears true. Because these 3 parts, the outside danger, the internal cause, and the imagined personality, lock together so perfectly, it creates a tightly sealed, unconscious secret. It feels incredibly, undeniably real to us. And you know what the most dangerous part of all this is? We never actually try to verify it as adults. We almost never talk about it. We just live inside of it, blindly assuming it's the absolute truth. Section 5. The floating reality check. Trauma transformation. So, how do we fix this? The process of floating is wonderfully direct. First, you identify the thoughts living in that dream world. Second, you share them honestly with the other person. And third, you ask for the truth. It's a real game changer. You are intentionally pulling your deepest, unverified childhood fears right out of your head and putting them straight into the shared space between you and your partner. But the absolute crucial point here is exactly how you phrase this. Think about this pivotal question. My head thinks that you will leave me now. Is that true? This is a reality-shattering question. Notice how it takes ownership, saying, my head thinks, rather than accusing the partner of doing something wrong. By sharing honestly like this and directly asking if it is true, you completely force your childhood projection to be tested against the actual present moment. When you have that honest dialogue, incredible things start to happen. The other person will usually answer, no, it's not true. Or, hey, if they do have destructive impulses, you work through it together in the other direction. Either way, working in both directions dissolves the destructive childhood projections, and it overwrites them with real sensory information. It's like you're updating your brain's software. You replace that outdated dream world with a real sensory imprints of what's actually happening right now. We've unpacked some truly powerful psychology in this explainer today. And as we wrap up, I want to leave you with this final provocative thought to chew on. What unverified childhood projections are you bringing into your relationships today? Take a moment to really think about that. I challenge you to take this floating reality check, identifying the thought, sharing it honestly, and asking for the truth, and apply it to your own daily interactions. It might just change the whole shebang for you. Keep learning, keep questioning your reality, and thank you so much for joining me to explore this incredible material.